100 billion pieces of clothing are thrown away every single year, and only 8% of them will ever be recycled. The rest? They pile up in landfills, clog rivers, and burn in open pits, releasing toxic chemicals into the air. But what if old clothes didn't have to be wasted? Right now, factories across the world are transforming discarded fabric into brand new garments, insulation, and even luxury fashion. From sorting to shredding, this is how 20 million clothes are recycled each day in a factory. The journey of textile recycling starts at giant sorting centers, where mountains of old clothes pile up every single day. These aren't just from donation bins or thrift stores. Corporate take-back programs and direct consumer recycling efforts also contribute to the endless flow of fabric. In places like Pakistan, where textile recycling is a massive industry, workers sort through over 25 metric tons of clothing daily, carefully separating each piece based on fabric type, quality, and condition. Some garments get lucky. If they're still in decent shape, they're resold in second-hand markets around the world, from trendy vintage shops in Europe to massive open-air bazaars in Africa. High-end boutiques in Japan even hunt for rare, branded pieces among the discards. But not everything gets a second chance. About 40% of the clothing that arrives at these sorting centers is too damaged, stained, or outdated to be resold. And for those garments, the only option is recycling. Once sorted, these unusable clothes are compressed into enormous bales, some weighing over a ton, and then shipped to specialized factories, massive industrial sites dedicated to breaking down old textiles and transforming them into something entirely new. Before recycling can start, the clothes need to be prepped. Workers at massive sorting centers go through mountains of fabric, making sure only the right materials move forward. If mixed textiles, synthetic blends, or metal parts slip through, they can jam machines or ruin entire batches of recycled material. The first job? Getting rid of anything that can't be processed. Buttons, zippers, and synthetic fabrics like polyester all need to be removed. Some factories use high-tech sorting machines that scan and sort fabrics in seconds, but human workers still play a key role in catching anything the machine misses. For now, only clothes that are at least 98% cotton can move on, since cotton is easiest to break down and turn into new fabric. Once sorted, these garments are bundled up and sent off to be shredded. Inside powerful industrial shredders, jeans, t-shirts, and cotton garments are ripped apart in seconds. The sound of tearing fabric fills the air as blades slice them into tiny fiber fragments. But there's a problem. These fibers are too short to be spun into strong yarn. If they were used as is, the fabric would be weak and fall apart easily. To fix this, factories mix in virgin cotton to reinforce the fibers. This step requires balance. Too little reinforcement, and the fabric is fragile. Too much, and the sustainability benefits are lost. Once shredded, the fibers are compressed into huge bales and sent to the spinning room. Here, specialized machines align the fibers, turning them from fluffy, uneven clumps into smooth, web-like sheets, a process called carding. This step is crucial because it evens out the fibers and prepares them to be spun into strong, high-quality yarn. After carding, the fibers go through combing, which removes the weakest, shortest strands and lines up the remaining ones. This makes the fibers smoother, stronger, and more uniform, setting them up for the next step, ring spinning. Ring spinning is where the fibers really come to life. The aligned strands are drawn into thick, rope-like silvers, which are then stretched, twisted, and refined into durable yarn. This technique, an advanced version of traditional yarn making, locks the fibers together tightly, boosting their strength and flexibility. Without this step, the yarn would break too easily during weaving. Within minutes, spools of fresh, recycled yarn start rolling off the machines. In large-scale factories, these machines run non-stop, producing miles of yarn every single day. But before this recycled yarn can be used, it needs one crucial thing: color. Dyeing is one of the most environmentally damaging parts of textile production. Traditional dyeing methods use massive amounts of water and dump toxic chemicals into rivers and lakes. Some factories, however, are finding ways to fix this. Another breakthrough? Dope dyeing. Instead of dunking fabrics into dye baths, color is added directly to the fibers before they're even spun into yarn. This method slashes water use by up to 90% and prevents chemical runoff. Some high-end textile mills already use this technique, but for now, it's still making its way into mainstream production. Once dyed, the yarn moves to massive industrial looms, where thousands of strands are stretched across beams and interwoven with white threads to create the iconic diagonal weave of denim. The finished fabric is pressed into enormous rolls, each containing enough material for hundreds of garments. But the process doesn't stop there. Factories are now rethinking the finishing touches. Instead of using chemical treatments to create that classic distressed denim look, many are switching to laser etching technology. These high-powered lasers burn precise fading patterns into the fabric, mimicking the worn-in look of vintage jeans without using a single drop of water or a single harmful chemical. With the fabric complete, it is cut, stitched, and assembled into brand new garments, making the end of the mechanical recycling process for cotton. But while cotton is relatively easy to recycle, it only represents a fraction of the world's textiles. The bigger challenge? Polyester, the world's most widely used synthetic fiber. Polyester is everywhere, from workout clothes to fast fashion, but unlike cotton, it doesn't break down naturally. When tossed away, it sits in landfills for centuries, slowly shedding microplastics that seep into waterways, soil, and even our food. Even washing polyester releases tiny synthetic fibers into the ocean, adding to the global pollution crisis. That's where chemical recycling comes in. Instead of just shredding fabric like mechanical recycling, this method breaks polyester down at the molecular level, stripping it back to its basic building blocks. At Circulose in Sweden, old polyester garments are first shredded into tiny fragments. Then, they're soaked in chemical baths that dissolve dyes, coatings, and contaminants, leaving behind pure, reusable material. This process, called depolymerization, reduces the fabric to its original monomers and polymers, which can then be rebuilt into brand new fibers. Unlike mechanical recycling, which weakens fabric over time, chemical recycling lets polyester be recycled over and over again without losing quality. Across Europe, companies are racing to scale up this technology. In Germany, Rittec has found a way to separate polyester from blending fabrics, making it easier to recycle mixed material clothing. In France, Carbios is using enzymes to break down synthetic fibers even more efficiently. Even major brands are betting big on this innovation. H&M is building high-capacity fiber-to-fiber recycling plants in Vietnam and Spain, aiming to make recycled polyester a mainstream part of their supply chain. Recycling sounds like the perfect solution to textile waste, but it's not that simple. One of the biggest hurdles? Fabric blends. Most modern clothes aren't made from just pure cotton or polyester. Instead, they're mixed with nylon, elastane, and spandex to add stretch, durability, and comfort. That's great for wearability, but terrible for recycling. Separating these fibers is nearly impossible with today's technology, meaning millions of garments can't be reused and end up in landfills instead. Even tiny impurities, like metal-based dyes and chemical finishes, can ruin entire batches of recycled fabric. Until clothing is designed with recyclability in mind, this problem isn't going away. Some brands are taking a different approach, focusing on extending a garment's lifespan before it even reaches a recycling plant. In Berlin, for example, police officers and corporate workers now wear uniforms made entirely from recycled textiles. Other discarded clothing gets repurposed into industrial rags, insulation, or even padding for car seats, making sure that no fabric goes to waste. But the biggest challenge isn't technology, it's fast fashion. In the last 20 years, global textile production has doubled, with brands producing cheap, disposable clothing at an unsustainable pace. On average, a piece of clothing is worn less than 10 times before being thrown away. The result? We're creating waste faster than we can recycle it. That's why experts say better recycling isn't enough. We also need to slow down production. The fashion industry must shift toward longer-lasting, high-quality garments, reducing waste at the source instead of just managing the aftermath. Even so, progress is happening. In Sweden, Circulose is refining chemical recycling to make cotton waste reusable on a larger scale. In Pakistan, Artistic Fabric Mills is working to increase the percentage of recycled material in every pair of jeans. And in high-tech labs across Europe, scientists are developing next-generation recycling methods that could one day make textile waste a thing of the past. So the next time you throw away an old t-shirt, remember, it's not the end of its journey. Whether it's shredded into rags, woven into a new pair of jeans, or broken down into fresh fibers, your discarded clothes still have a future. And that's how over 20 million pieces of clothing are recycled every single day, transforming old textiles into brand new fabrics while reducing waste and protecting the planet. Which part of the process surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this behind the scenes look, be sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more fascinating factory processes.